So one of the things I find fascinating is both of you have worked in incredible worlds with visual effects, but you are both amazing actors who still give us emotional performances that we have through lines and your characters have arcs. How do you keep that succinct, knowing that there's so much going on around you, in the sense of, does it ever worry you that there's so much scale, so many visual effects that might take away from what you're actually doing on set?
Sure, well, you can only do what you do. You know that you're responsible for your part of the process. There's thousands of other people, and one of the great things that everyone needs to do is allow everyone to do their best work, independent and together, independently of each other, but also to get in the common good. So all you can do as an actor is your job is to make your character real. You know, quite simple in a way.
I think the demands sometimes when we're existing in virtual universes, which both Hugo and I have done, which we do on this thing, on Mortal Engines, it sort of necessitates supplying more detail than if you're on, a practical set. Although there were practical sets, of course, on Mortal Engines, but you do have to be cognizant of the things that are there, which are actually not there.
Now, sitting across from you, your filmographies are incredible, and I'm curious, when you get stopped by someone on the street, is there a particular role that they bring up? I mean, I can't even imagine what you get or what you get, but is there a role you get, and did anyone ever ask you to say a line from your movies?
Oh yeah, Mr. Anderson, please say Mr. Anderson. Please say Mr. Anderson.
Do you do it?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Do you do it in character?
Well, I have to, otherwise they'd shoot me.
Well, now I have to ask you, could I ask you for that?
Mr. Anderson.
Okay, I'm done. I'm out of here. This is amazing. No, and for you?
Well, I got all types, really, and one of the ones that I get quite frequently, and I can always see this one coming, is Law Don't Go Around Here, because there's a whole Tombstone cadre of fans out there. But on the other hand, it may be that I should just start carrying around a turkey baster and just take it out when
Please don't bring that up.
approaches,
That scene is so horrifying. One thing I do love about both of you as actors, obviously you've worked with technology, has progressed so much in filmmaking as you both started as actors. I was curious, kind of looking back at earlier films, do you think those films could have been easier for you as actors had you had today's technology? Would The Matrix have been different had you had the Mortal Engines technology? Would it have made a difference for you as an actor?
I don't think so. I mean, there was Matrix they were complete sets we were working on, or out on the street, and the technologies were invented. There were so many technologies invented for the Matrix, and that film could not have been made much prior to that. And similarly, Lord of the Rings couldn't have been made 5 years before that. So each of these films, Mortal Engines as well, you're kind of moving into the same with Avatar. You're moving into different territories where often the filmmakers want to achieve something, cannot achieve it, have to invent something in order to achieve that particular thing. So each one of them, in their own way, breaks the technology they need to discover. They open the box they need to open in order to make the film they make. So I think that each one is apt for its time.
Right.
And your performance capture here is unbelievable. I mean, that to me is the definition of just an amazing emotional performance, that we care for his character. There's an arc to him, which I absolutely loved. But for something like Avatar, you were human, and the other actors were going through performance capture. Can you talk about that difference for you here, being on the other end of that, and you doing the performance capture and having human beings in front of you?
Well, it was just a flip of the coin, isn't it? But it was unique. I think it was it puts an awful lot of responsibility on the other actors as well, and so we fed each other. The belief that I saw in Hera Hilmar's eyes, the fear that I saw in Robbie Sheehan's eyes. That all fed into my performance, and conversely, I would feed them back. So in that sense, it's really no different than any other acting. What you just once I put on the suit and everything, I just became Shrike. I just made the decision, and this is who I am. This is it's not wardrobe, it's not makeup, it's not anything like that. This is just Shrike. What you see is what you get here. You know,
Cool.
it wasn't. I just turned my brain off pretty much.
Well, I
which
love
is
Shrike.
helpful.
I felt for him, and I think you played a great character.
I
You really
appreciate
did.
it.
You
Thank
made him
you.
relatable, even though he was semi-villainous, but not really. So to me, that's the best part about you as an actor. Is you made him relatable and layered.
I think you mean lovable, don't you?
Lovable. Completely so one of my favorite moments in the movie is actually the Twinkie moment. I don't know
yes.
why, but I
Oh,
love
yeah.
it. And
The Inky.
Yeah,
Inky.
and I kept thinking to myself, okay, so my wife and I argue all the time about when we're throwing food out. 'Cause I'm an exact date. She's like a
Oh,
little
I'm
more.
so like your wife.
That's what I want to ask you. I want to ask how you are with expirations on foods.
Well, I think it's very important that we are good at smelling and touching and tasting. And
I
we're
look
not
at a date.
yeah, well, that's the thing. It's such a male thing. I know it's such a thing. Now I don't want to judge. But
That's okay.
I've had the same thing a lot of the times with men in my life, and it's like I don't know. I just think we need to be able to know, because what are we gonna do if there's no date?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Instinctually.
But milk,
yeah.
like, what do you, like milk
Yeah, milk is
expires
the
November
worst.
21st. I'm throwing it away on the 22nd. My wife's like, Kevin, wait a couple more days, you'll be fine.
But you know you can smell it straight away when it's
Yeah,
gone.
I don't want to risk that.
I know,
Being that
but-
kind of sick.
No, I mean I wouldn't risk it,
Yeah.
but you can smell it.
Yeah, you can.
Would
Yeah,
you eat a
can.
1,000-year-old Twinkie?
Never.
I don't know. I doubt. We had to eat a lot of Twinkies for this movie.
How many did you eat, you think, on that shoot, on that day? Like, how many times did you do that shot?
Like 20.
Oh my God.
I had to spit out a lot of them. No offense to the Twinkie, but I just, because I was gonna get like
Really
I
fat.
think nobody, not fat, just ill. Like I think
All the sugar and the
yeah, you can maybe have a little bit of it, but like, oh my God. So we do these takes, and then like you have to, like, a person would come and
To take your spit.
it.
Oh my God! What's that person's title in the credits? Like spit person? I can't imagine.
Yeah,
what that-
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
what it's-
Spit
you and-
collector.
They were
you,
high on the credit
you
list,
and Woody
yeah.
Harrelson's Zombieland character need to be like best friends, because he was searching for Twinkies the entire
Yeah.
Zombieland
Exactly.
film.
Oh
so
my God, we
Right.
should have a spin-off though, where they
Yes.
meet.
please,
Yes.
someone get Peter Jackson on the phone. Let's get
Okay.
this done immediately.
We'll do it.
All right, I'll direct.
Okay, great.
And they've got Twinkies in our room here as well, and I'm wondering if that's
Is
because
that like
of
a nod to the film?
is that a nod to the film, or because I've
They
never
don't
been
think we
like
actually eat
given
Twinkies, do they?
Twinkies as a snack before.
It has
but
to be,
they're
like-
everywhere.
well,
I'm gonna
Mortal
have one
Engines-
today out of solidarity.
I want to have one now too. But the whole idea is the expiration
Out of
date of these
solitary,
things,
yeah.
and your character's like, I'm not going to eat this; it's expired.
Yeah.
So I was wondering. My wife and I have this argument all the time. We have stuff in our refrigerator that goes a week later.
You know what? Yeah.
Are-
Yogurts.
What kind of person are you? Are you an exact expiration date
Nah.
throwaway, or can
No,
you keep it?
it's like it's a recommendation, isn't it? It's like just eat it by this. You definitely won't get salmonella. But there's a wiggle room there.
yeah.
3 or
I'm an
4
exact
days.
date
Do you know what?
person.
I'm in between because I thought I was someone that kind of just kept things for too long. Because I had a roommate for the last 2 years, and she would literally like throw everything out, and I'd be like, just like that's fine. She'd cook pasta and be like, the next day I'm gonna throw it. I'm like, no, like it's fine,
Yeah,
it's fine.
leave- it's cooked
like,
now,
I'm like,
it's
come
fine.
on, geez,
Fridge.
chill out. Like we can keep it forever. But
only-
then
yeah.
I've recently been living with someone who literally will leave like a boiled egg out, and then like. And I'll go to throw it away, and he'll be like, no, like I'm planning on dinner. I'm like, I don't.
I'm getting round to
I'm
it.
like, don't, please. Or like, I made him throw out some broccoli the other day because it literally had fluff growing on it, and he was like, no, it's
called mold.
fine.
just-
So
yeah, you just
I
shave
think
it off.
depends. I'm not like one
Yeah.
either way. I think I'm a happy medium.
I'm an
make
exact.
I make a mean seafood stew, but then you have to throw that out pretty quickly after a day or so, or else you will poison yourself.
What's in your seafood stew?
Potatoes, carrots, broccolinis, little broccolis, little tender stem, you know them ones. Garlic and then to like loads of different like prawns and salmon, maybe a bit of cod, and lash it all in. Spinach, maybe, and then thicken it up with flour so it's nice and thick and rich.
Can we make
Just
this
plain
now?
flour.
Let's do a cooking
Yeah,
class.
we should do another one of those cooking videos. We did a cooking.
We did a cooking video together. Yeah.
Because Leila does these like.
I do these like breakfast
YouTube.
wids. That's coming out soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should do, like for the release of the movie. We should sort of combine. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we cooked brownies once together. That was fun.
Well, guys, they're wrapping me. I'm coming over for seafood stew sometime.
Yeah.
So I grew up with Weta. I love Lord of the Rings and obviously Peter Jackson. And one of the cool things about him is he does practical effects and CGI. So gives you things practically on set. So I was wondering, when you walked on set, what is the coolest thing you geeked out over about a practical device that was on set or a set piece? What geeked you out the most?
One of the first ones that I saw was Scuttlebutt, which is, it was this, it was like a machine that you could live in, the front cockpit, it like would shake, the middle, like the living room area would like go sway like this, and then the back,
It's incredible
the
looking.
corridors and all
So
the rooms
cool.
would move like this, like a snake. And then there was a food making machine in the background that nobody sees that was making food, or like algae food, out of poo.
Out of poo? Like what kind of poo?
I don't know.
Like animals?
I don't know. I guess any poo they could get hold of.
Horrifying.
I know.
Wait, when I see the movie again, where can I see this? Like, what do I look?
Scuttlebutt.
It's
I need to look
Scuttlebutt.
on Scuttlebutt. Okay.
So when I don't know, like Miss Raylan kind of comes out of the kitchen and it's there in the back. I don't know if you see it, but I saw it because I was just like looking through. I was like, what the hell is
Well,
that?
I'm gonna go back and look for that.
Yeah.
What was your nerd out like practical effects?
When I saw Airhaven,
Oh.
Oh my God, yes.
it was hanging.
Yeah.
And it was elevated. So when we had to like jump up to get into it, and then when we got to the bar, it's not some separate set that was faked. Airhaven existed
Yeah.
as a hanging,
Wow.
floating thing.
That's insane.
It
that
was insane.
blew my mind.
And to run around it?
Yeah, we had
Like-
to run around it,
it's so
escaping
cool.
and
It's like
fighting.
an amusement park.
Yeah.
And then there was a scene in Airhaven when Shrike comes in, and the whole place gets overturned like this.
Yeah.
That was for real.
Yeah, we
Wow.
we
A lot
did
of
It's
that.
like a gimbal kind of thing. That's kind of cool how they.
It,
I didn't
like
like how-
crew members had to leave some of them because they were
Even if
throwing
it
up.
wasn't even necessarily moving, like, it just
It
was
was-
like that for the whole
turned
day.
that way, yeah.
And
Oh,
everyone was
days.
just getting like, just from
Weird.
seeing it or standing on it.
Now-
I had to fight on that.
Really,
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
on the sideways
Yes.
element? That's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yes.
Were you on wires and stuff? Like, did they keep you upright? Like,
No,
like,
no
You're
wires,
just like
no
fighting
wires.
sideways.
Yeah, I
That's-
fell down quite a bit.
A lot of
Doing
gravity
spinning,
balancing
yes,
going on there.
spinning
yeah.
kicks and falling.
Well, there was a charming young Irishman called Trevor who was in the art department, and it was mostly his job to like move any of the fittings on the set to make them look like they're shaking with engines underneath. So sometimes he was in a full green screen, it's like sort of green screen ghost there. So Trevor was my favorite practical effect.
That's cool.
And for you, what was your favorite practical effect?
Oh, I just liked walking around all of the sets. I would go and sit and have lunch in them and like sneak photos because
Yeah.
we so weren't allowed cameras or phones anywhere.
She's
so I
there
would
dropping
like
salad all over Airhaven.
probably like just snapping a selfie with the minions
I
and
saw some
like
lettuce
all
in
of
one of
that.
those scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone
Yeah.
slips on a leaf of lettuce.
Yeah.
You know, one thing, Peter Jackson was somebody who kind of raised me in regards to his films. Like
Us too.
When I was a kid, I remember. I don't know if you ever seen Dead Alive or Meet the Feebles or Bad
Oh,
Taste.
yeah.
Like the earlier stuff. Was
Brain
so great.
Dead, baby.
Brain Dead.
Brain
That's
Dead.
actually the different title of Dead Alive. There are two titles.
Oh, is that
for it.
right? Is that what it's called in America?
Yeah, there were two
Dead
different
Alive.
versions of it. And I was curious, like,
Heavenly
was
Creatures.
there one film you geek out with him the most about when you see him? Like, is there one movie you bring up?
For me, it's always going to be Lord of the Rings. I mean,
Yeah.
I literally grew up, we were talking the other day, that was when our generation would first watch like a series, like like a marathon. That's when marathon started it was always Lord of the Rings over like Harry Potter for me.